Chapter 3 of the Pokemon Creepypasta, Pokemon Dark Version. After an unmarked van arrived at the apartment and transported Keith's body to a hospital for an autopsy, Ted was extensively interviewed at the police station. A hidden urge to discover the game's secrets for himself, he denied knowledge of any other people he knew using the game before or the existence of any other carts of it, acting clueless. The Game Boy and Pokemon game found by Keith's body were collected as evidence by the authorities. For the next week, Erica and Valerie, horrified by their friend's death and Ted's recollection of his last days alive, didn't dare play the game that had supposedly killed Keith. The autopsy revealed he had been dead for well over a day before being discovered. The thought of trying the game lingered heavily in Ted's mind after seeing what had happened. Keeping it on the sly, he played his copy of the game constantly. For a while, Erica, now in a deep state of depression and horror from Keith's death, wasted her days away isolated in her home. She had thrown away her Game Boy Color and copy of Pokemon Dark Version. But the temptation of learning about the mysterious game's effects grew stronger over the days, until it was all Erica could think of. She tore open their garbage bags, feverishly searching through trash until she found the Game Boy, now covered in filth. With a relieved smile, she took it inside her house and cleaned it off. The game cartridge was still tucked tightly into the back just as she had left it before throwing it away in disgust. Erica slowly took a seat on the living room couch. She stared down at the piece of plastic in her hand, wondering if she would end up like Keith. The curiosity to know what had made him so obsessed overpowered her fear, and she carefully turned the Game Boy on. The usual Game Boy Color startup screen flashed on, then turned to black. Erica waited a few moments, but the screen did not change. Suddenly, it flickered for an instant, then returned to black. The nervous girl waited again, thinking the game must have been damaged when she threw it away. The screen flickered again, this time with a distorted cackle emanating from the Game Boy's speakers, then the flickering went black again, and the normal Pokemon game intro began to play. Erica swallowed, took a deep breath, and pressed start, continuing where she had left off in the game. As she played through 2 towns, she noticed a cave she did not recognize and entered it. The screen went black, with the side of a swaying pendant slowly coming into view, then 2 light eyes. As the screen brightened and the figure came into sight, it was revealed to be a horrific image of the Pokemon Hypno. Its eyes were missing, with a ghastly smile stretched across its face as it swung its pendant from left to right. Erica gasped and her brown eyes widened as a sentence appeared in a text box. "Rest your eyes. Come to me in your dreams." For a few moments there was an unnatural glimmer in Hypno's pendant as it swayed slowly. It hurt Erica's eyes, but she could not look away. When the glimmer faded, she squeezed her eyes shut, feeling extremely ill. After taking a few deep breaths, she continued the game and pressed down to leave the cave. With Hypno's sprite at the far end of the cave, a text box appeared reading, "Leaving so soon? The fun's about to begin." Nothing happened, so Erica tried to leave again. Another text said, "You haven't even taken a nap yet." When she tried to leave the third time, a final text read, "You'll wish you had stayed forever." Then the screen changed to the cave entrance and Erica quickly left. She noticed eerie music had replaced the usual town music, and that Hypno's sprite was standing in the top right corner, watching her character. She quickly moved away to another screen to find that all other characters were asleep, except Hypno, who was in this one as well. The third screen made another extremely bright glimmer, this time from Hypno's sprite. An unbearably high-pitched squeal burst from the Game Boy's speakers, causing Erica to cry out in pain, turn the game off, and throw it across the room. It clattered against the opposing wall, landing upright. Erica stared at it, breathing hard for a few moments. The screen flashed to life, with the mesmerizing pendant going from left to right in front of Hypno's empty eye sockets and eerie smile. A cackle from the game sent chills down Erica's spine. "Rest your eyes. Come to me in your dreams," it said. The frightened girl stood motionless, unsure what to do as her hands quivered. The voice repeated itself, then once more as Erica walked up to the Game Boy and ripped the cartridge and batteries out. The screen of Hypno did not fade, cackling even more. She stared in disbelief at it. Rest your eyes. Come to me in your dreams. It pleaded again. With a horrible shriek, Erica smashed the Game Boy against the floor repeatedly, screaming for it to shut up. She grabbed a nearby TV remote and screamed wildly as she struck the screen with it violently until it was destroyed. The image of Hypno was now gone, fragments of the screen scattered all over the floor, but the voice continued its chant. It seemed stronger now, as if coming from the air itself. The words whispered to her over and over, growing louder and more rapid. Erica began to panic, covering her ears as she looked for something to crush the Game Boy with. Finding a meat hammer in the kitchen, a crazed smile spread across Erica's face. She charged at the motionless hunk of purple plastic, bringing the cast iron hammer down with all her might, and smashed the Game Boy in two. She whacked at the halves furiously until they were reduced to a mess of annihilated hardware and plastic. Panting like an animal, she cried out as the voices continued. In the corner of her right eye, she saw the eyeless Hypno swinging its pendant. Whirling to her side to get a direct view, the Pokemon disappeared. She now saw it in her left eye. Turning to that side, Hypno faded quickly once more. In a fit of rage and confusion, Erica rushed up to the Pokemon Dark cartridge and shattered it with the hammer, striking away at the one solid piece remaining. The voices hushed to a low whisper. Erica panted, exhausted. She dropped the meat hammer, feeling her eyelids grow heavy and her body sapped of energy. She struggled to stay awake, not wanting to give in to Hypno's words, but found the couch so enticing with its soft texture and inviting pillows. Collapsing onto it, she rested her head on one of the pillows and slowly slipped away into an overpowering slumber. Erica was not heard from for a few days. Valerie went over to check on her, only to discover the meat hammer and video game shards covering the floor. She searched the entire house, calling out her friend's name as she went. Erica had disappeared.